Hey, YouTube. Welcome back to Black Girl Goals and Things with Tashira, me, your host, where we discuss girl talk, therapy, faith, and wellness. And if y'all don't know already, it's May, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I was like, you know what? I should definitely talk about my therapy journey. So, if you haven't watched any of my videos before or you don't know, I am a licensed mental health therapist and I am a therapist who's gone to therapy and sometimes feel like I want to go back because it's just so good for you. And people think that they have to have things wrong to go to therapy, and you don't. There is times maybe you just notice some stuff about yourself and you don't really feel safe talking to your community about it, and you want to go to someone who is not connected to you in any way, shape, or form and have a safe space to process some stuff that maybe you are noticing about yourself, maybe things that are affecting you in your social life and your relationships with people. Maybe there are some big decisions you want to make and you don't really have a safe space to kind of process what it would look like if you took the risk, what it would look like if you made the decision, all that good stuff. Going to therapy is like going to your doctor's appointments. Like, we should all be going to check up on our bodies, our physical health, make sure that things that we cannot see, you know, is going good. Like, everything is well. And the same thing with therapy. Sometimes you don't really know what's really going on till you open up and start talking. So, I feel that it's very important as a therapist to share my journey sometimes if I find that it's clinically appropriate for the individual. If I find that it will be helpful, I will do so. But on this platform, y'all getting all y'all getting all of it. So I started, I feel like before I truly found a good therapist, I tried to start my journey probably when I was like, mm, I feel like there was times during like grade school, try to go talk, just wasn't the right, just wasn't the right fit, wasn't the right time for what I needed. But I would say in my early 20s is when I was able to find a person, stick with them, and my journey lasted for like 4.5, 5 years. And it probably was the most rewarding years in my 20s. And y'all know, if you are in your 20s watching this, or if you're in your 30s, whatever, you know that navigating the 20s is hard. You're literally like in boot camp for adulthood. That's what I say all the time. And I work with 20 somethings all the time. You're literally like in boot camp. You come from adolescence where you're figuring out your group, who you are, what you want to be, what you want to this, all this stuff. And in adulthood, it's kind of like that too. But you might have like a little sense, and then you tried it out and it wasn't really working. So you're trying to figure it out. At the same time, you got all this big girl, big boy stuff going on, like work and bills and all of that. And if you're a parent, that's huge, right? All these different um, roles and hats that you have to wear. So I would say I found a therapist. It was great. We discussed a lot. And what happens is that you come in with goals, right? You come in with things that you think you're going to talk about, and then you open up all this other stuff. So you're probably like, dang, you went to therapy for 5 years and never missed a session? Girl, never missed a session. Never canceled. They never canceled on me. Like, locked in. Now, I did have two. In that time frame, I did have two because I finished up goals with one, which was the bulk of my time, and then there were some other deeper things that they weren't quite like specialized in to deal with, that I went on and um excuse me, I went on and like kind of worked through those things. So the journey was hard. There was many times I left the session like this chick is crazy. I'm not coming back. She got me tripping. I'm going home researching stuff like, never mind, y'all. I graduated with a bachelor's in psychology. And then this was even way before I even started going to grad school. So like I'm like, no, let me. And not that I didn't trust that she knew what she was talking about, but I am a fact checker. Like I'm like, no. Child went home and was like, yeah, let me stop playing with this lady. Okay, like I will be back. I will be confirming when I get the reminder text. I will be there like pronto. Um, it was rewarding. It was hard, and the hardest part was being told when I was wrong, right? And also having to acknowledge things that I know I've done to play a role in my own suffering too. It's so easy for us to be like, well, I'm going to therapy because this person did all these things to me, and now look at me, I'm effed up or whatever. But when you get up in there and you have a good therapist, y'all gonna talk about how you played a role in it. And a lot of times it's simple stuff like you wasn't feeling something, you knew something was off and you didn't say no. Or you didn't, deviate, or you didn't stop it or whatever. It'd be simple stuff like that that we just don't be doing, and things just go and go and go and go and go and carry on. A whole mess. A whole mess. But when you get down to it and you learn how to stop, you you really give yourself a lot of peace with that. But we all do in some way, shape, or form. We play a role in our suffering, and that's hard to digest. That's hard when your whole time you're telling yourself it's everybody else's fault. It's this person is, and it does suck, y'all. It does suck to have to heal from somebody else's doing. When it's something that we do, we can take that L. We can take that like, okay, that was on me. But when it's from somebody else, that be the part, right? So a few things that I worked on during my time was definitely working through a lot of trauma that I had, that I didn't even know. I had no idea what the effects was until I was in college, and I was having times where I was having like nightmares, and I was like waking up in sweats, and I'll be in class and I'll be having like flashbacks of stuff, or I'll be having like auditory what they'll call is like kind of like auditory hallucinations, where you're like hearing things from like the traumatic event that happened, right? So let's just say like you were in a car accident or something, and you can be somewhere and then you just, for whatever reasons, maybe something triggered it, you can hear like the loud crash, right? Like right before you crash, or like what was playing on the radio, or any aspects of it, any auditory thing. So those things was happening, and I was like, all right, now I know they told us don't be in here self-diagnosing yourselves, but if you find that there are some things that you're struggling with, we could go and talk to the professors about it, have a conversation. So I remember sharing what was happening to me in class, because it would be happening and I'll be missing a whole whatever chunk of time the dissociation happened. I like missed the whole thing. I would have to ask my classmate, like, can I see your notes? Because like I was sitting right here, but I wasn't like right here. So I remember like that kept happening, and I was like, all right, I feel comfortable talking to my professor. Let me go. And we were talking, and it was like, oh, definitely meeting symptoms of PTSD. And I was like, what? Because all you're ever taught about PTSD is that it's from the soldiers, and like they have it because of all the stuff that happened in war, la la la. No, not just not just them, okay. Some symptoms could be very acute, and acute means short lasting, and some could be complex, which is like longer, right? Which is what I had ended up they ended up diagnosing the issue is that, right, once I got into therapy and was doing for a while, whatever. So yeah, so it was meeting symptoms of that. So I'm like, all right, I gotta really find me somebody to talk to. Tried at school, wasn't it. Wasn't it. And I was like, okay, I have to take a step back and figure out, what do I need. I needed somebody to look like me. I needed somebody who was going to understand the things that happen in my culture, in my community, the common things that are said about when things happen, and someone could just get me where I didn't have to code in any way. So I, got me a big girl job, got insurance, and I was like, okay, it's time. Like, I'm gonna go. I found somebody who was a great fit, stuck with them for like 4.5 years, and it was amazing. Um, Challenging because you have to unlearn so much. I had beliefs about things that I believed to my core, but they were unhealthy beliefs. It was like cognitive distortions all over the place. But I was huge on like black and white thinking. Like, you could not tell me it wasn't this or that. You could not tell me stuff like people had hidden motives. Like, everybody, like, I believe, like, when I look back now, like, and being a clinician now, and when I work with my clients, it just brings me, like, I just chuckle because I'm like, I've been there. I get it. I know. And I know how to help them and work through it because I was there. Like, it was literally like, nobody is shaking this belief. Like, I literally believe this. There's nothing you can tell me about anything different. But as we worked through things and I got down to the bottom of why I believed in all that stuff, tons of hard work, let me tell you. Hard work, but it was rewarding. It was fun at times because it got easier. You got used to talking. And that's the big thing where so much happens in our lives and we don't talk about it. We just keep going. Like, we just keep going, going, going. Like, that ain't just happened last week. And then you don't feel like you can truly go to somebody because then people try to tell you how you experienced the thing, especially if they was there. You can have three people grow up in the same household and be exposed to the same things, and they all are affected differently. Somebody may be more resilient than the other person. Somebody may be all the way on a different extreme where they're really, really, really struggling. Everybody's experience to things is totally different. We cannot just assume that somebody's gonna be affected, impacted the same way. So when I look back over those years, and still to this day, I still utilize the skills that I've learned. And was so amazing is that I did all that hard work, became an independent practitioner. So now those same stuff I get to give to my clients to do and like see how well they do with them, see how we have to tweak things because everything is subjective. Everything's not gonna work for everybody. But it just blows my mind. And I love when I share with them that I've gone to therapy and that I've lived this. Like, I know what it's like to be on the other side. They're always so shocked. It's so funny. Like, people forget that therapists are human. Like, we have shit that happens to us too. Excuse my French. We have stuff that happens to us too, right? Now, whether or not everybody go and get the help that they need, it's always advised. If you go to a good program, they're gonna tell you you should be or you should have and all of that. But they don't be thinking we human. Like, just because I'm on this side of the seat don't mean life don't be life for me and things will be happening. It's just that I do have skills that I practice each and every day. And whenever if a trigger arises or something like that, I know what to do so that it's not really impacting me, right? So when I look back at my journey, it just makes me so proud that I took that step and I did it. And let me tell y'all, I ain't tell nobody, no family members at all, that I was doing this until I was like probably like a year or two in. I think I waited like 2 years because I didn't want to hear nobody's negative thoughts. I didn't want to see no faces. I didn't want to be like, oh, what you, it was my journey. It was something that I wanted to embark on my own and not have any outside um, thoughts and opinions and all of that. And when I did share, I remember I had a cousin was like, damn, cuz, like, I'm so happy you shared that with me because I've been thinking about going, right? And so I was like, okay. Once that happened, I was like, all right, let me not hide it anymore because I can be an inspiration for people. And be just motivating and showing them like, yo, it's good, it works. I look forward to it. It's a lot. Like, after therapy at times, I used to have to go home and take a nap because I was like, that was just too much. And what it was that you're so used to before, it was like I was so used to like things happen, don't talk about it, use something to help you get through. And for me, that was like going to school, doing sports, those different things. Essentially being a workaholic, okay? And I'm still recovering. It really feels, it's like an addiction. Like, you get so addicted to work, but that was something that was like a safe thing for me. It was something like, okay, well, I always got something to do. I always got something to distract me from what's really bothering me, or I got something to fulfill my days so that I'm not having any space and time to process anything, right? Now I know that now. But before, I wasn't thinking none of that stuff, right? But now I'm trained and educated and all that stuff where I know that what was going on. Um, so that's still like a thing that I'm like, let me give myself a time that I need to literally stop. Like that means I'm not seeing any clients. I'm not doing any extra work, anything extra. Like from this block of time to this block of time, this is when I'm doing work. From this time, no. I need to be implementing fun, right? Implementing, engaging with my community and social life and all that stuff. So, anyway, it was super exhausting. I used to have to go take a nap afterwards because you're just not used to talking about anything and really searching within yourself right there in the moment too. Not that there aren't things you can kind of come back, like process a little by yourself and come back, but it's like real time working on it. That's a lot of emotional muscles that be working. But it was all worth it. And when you kind of like graduate, or you finish, you just look back and be like, wow. Like one thing that I love to do with my clients is I love to remind them at some point in time, like how many sessions. Like I'm like, yo, this is your 20th session. They be like, what? We been working together for the long. I'm like, yeah. Remember when you first started, you probably was thinking how long I was gonna have to do this? Cause I know that was my thought when I started. I was like, ooh, how long am I have to do this for? And it wasn't that I didn't, it wasn't like I wanted to be a rush thing. It was more of the relief. It was more of like, I just want this to be hurry up, fix, and I want this to stop bothering me. But healing is not like that. It's very much like this. It's very much like this. Soon as you like got all the way up here, then something comes up, boom, like push you back, and then you feel like it's hard to get back to this point, and it's not. It's just that you go through this hallway, and then there's all these doors that you gotta like open, and then it's just dealing with that room, going to another, dealing with that room, going to another, dealing with that room. Now, no, having over a decade of trauma is not going to be fixed and cured in that 5 years that I went. But the whole point was that I was able to learn so much about how to not let those things have power over me anymore, and how to manage when things come up for me where I'm no longer responding in the ways that I used to. And to me, in that 5 years, 4.5, 5 years or whatever, that's a lot of learning because you want to become, I don't really want to use the word master, but you want to get to a point where you're able to implement and do the skill like that. And that's why, like, when I assign homework or we're doing skill building, we stay on that thing for a little bit because I need to be able to hear from you. X, Y, and Z happened, boom, skill was implemented. If you still go, it's still not up, we ain't ready to move on yet. And it's the same thing was for me. Some things I was able to do like that, and then some took a minute. Like I told y'all, like I have really core like negative beliefs about stuff, like so bad, but I believed it like so hard, and it took a lot of work. Like shout out to my old therapist if she sees this video. It took a lot of work, but I just wanted to share a little bit, and just be real and authentic that like there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. You may not always find the right fit the first time, but don't stop searching, right? Don't stop shopping. Just like when people come to me and they have like consultations and stuff, I tell them like, look, if you're still shopping around, do what you gotta do. Like I only provide therapy virtually. If you know you need in person, I know you like my vibe, but please at least give that a try, right? If you want to give virtual try, you can, but get what you need because the journey is an investment, right? This is your life. This is nothing like to play with. Like you got to take it super serious. And sometimes it may take 2 and 3, times of trying to like kind of talk with a person and feel that is a good fit. But I hope that this video was inspiring to you. If you've been thinking about talking with somebody, a licensed professional who can help you get over the roadblocks, the speed bumps, like I like to call it, of life, because we all hit them. We all hit those speed bumps. But what happens when you hit a speed bump? You hit it, it's an initial like boom, right? But what some power thrust, you get over it, right? And that's what therapy is like. Now, if you have any questions about what it takes to find the right fit, how do I know exactly what to say that I need, how do I really figure out, you can feel free to reach out to me. That's what consultations are for. Sometimes people just say, hey, like, I just know I need to go, but I feel like I got like a million things and I don't know how to organize my thoughts. That was me. I was going to therapy for a good time, and I remember at some point I felt like all over the place because I like showed up in session. I was like, I'm sorry, I just feel like I don't have my stuff organized for you today. Like I don't know where I should start, what's what. So because that was my experience, now as a therapist on the other side of the seat, there's ways that I help my clients to be able to organize um, the things that's going on. Sometimes they may know like a couple days before the session like what they want to talk about, but then something happens like a few hours before the session, and then we have to prioritize that because it's fresh, it's like right there. So it's like, let's just bang it out, process and see what's going on, and then go to it. But don't feel like you have to be perfect, like you have to have it all together. That's not the space for that. You come in there for help. There are things that you want to work on. There are things that are impacting you and not in a good way. And be yourself, show up for yourself, be yourself. But if you're having a hard time, reach out. Don't be afraid. It's nothing to send an email to somebody, make a phone call to a licensed professional and ask some questions. Get an idea of what level of care may be best for you, what forms of therapy may be best for you, because there's so many. But ultimately, I just hope that me sharing a bit about my journey has been helpful to you. And if so, y'all do that YouTube thing now. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I just look forward to sharing more with y'all. And, you know, happy, happy May. New month, new goals, new chances every day you wake up to do what you're meant to do. Until then, y'all, I'll see y'all next video. Bye.